In the explanations of the concepts of 1, 2, and 3, I did raise consciousness as much as I could so that people would be affected deep in their potentials. The principles of interaction and transformation, kujiin, is to. It is the inside, the thing that grows. Je vais les lèvres boudées, sinon je ne sais pas si... Ok, tiens. For the sake of the translators, there's someone speaking everything I say. So when I see he's done, I can imagine the translator is finished. We need to adapt to everyone. I noticed also, when I talk slower, the English people have more time to absorb or transcend, depending. In the principles of 3, there's the concept of augmenting more. This expansion through change. And in the sphere of Yahweh and Bina, of the tree of life, change brings expansion again, thus evolution. In evolution we grow, not just as a person, but in size of consciousness. Okay. Until I can explain that size does not exist, it is the closest metaphor. Four. The understanding of 4 is very abstract. In its original position, 4 is dimension. There was no dimension until there was expansion. If there's nothing produced, nothing that expands, then there is no place where it expands. So the 3 brought the experience of 4 through change. It expanded, so space existed. 4 is dimension. In its median position, it's a door. It's going through a passage in dimension. At its final position, 4 is a form. A form only exists when there is dimension and something to reveal it, a going into. So now it makes more sense when we speak of the final four, that the principle four, the archetype four, is just dimension. And then the Kabbalist passage, a going into. If there's expansion, there's a going somewhere. A movement. This movement happens somewhere in a form of a place that is dimensionalized. So 444 is not just physical manifestation. Physical manifestation is in many numbers, mostly in 14, in 50, in 10, in 400, in 4 alone, maybe. But 444. How can I make a reference with lagima? This idea of going into the form. So there is a going into or a taking shape. 444 is not just the form, but the becoming of the form, the inhabit concept. Dimension, I'm somewhere, and I will enter that form. I will go to the form. Lagima. There's a wish to go. In the one, anima, the so subtle, undefined yet there. Mahima, there's something. And it's immense. And in the expanding, interacting, transforming tree, there's garima. Garima is that it's becoming powerful and affecting, and a densification that allows incarnation eventually. But that incarnation will happen through 4. 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12, and 12 is that lamed of incarnation. Okay. A detail I forgot to mention, the opposite tree, the dark tree. Just remember, as I'm speaking, that expansion can be to conquer, which is not bad, but there's a lack of compassion. In the simple original tree there is compassion. But if the final tree is not transformation but destruction, tree is not just transformed, it can be destruction. Destruction in a negative outcome of anger. Only in compassion is the transformation fruitful. Tree can be anger. Usually a starting tree is not anger. But the median or final tree could be that destroying power. Because expanding is just expanding. There is still no notion of the respect of the other components. You know, the other, that the concept of other that appeared in 2. Are you in collaboration or in opposition with that second, that other? So is it an interacting, of collaboration, or a fist in your face, I'm going to destroy you, expansion type of experience. Okay, so you breathe. So the dark four is the prison. The dark four in its origin means to be lost. The median four of passing becomes to fall. And the third four of forms means to be alone in that lonely, empty cell, which is a shape. Okay? So it's useful to conceive. You like that? It's cool, eh? This concept of four is equity. If the dimension and the passage and the form is for everyone to benefit. Four as a cross is different than four as a square. Four as a cross is this two of equity. Four is a form perfected. If nothing before came to ruin it. So when a final four is just a perfect square shape, it's a symbol that nothing before came to destroy the balance of things. In four you have the principle of dimension. In dimension we understand the virtue of equity. Because in the dimension everything is even, equal. And everything in the passing, in the median four, the passageway, the doorway, is a symbol of freedom. As the freedom of passing, the freedom of access to a resource, which is two. Two is resource, as in everything produced and existing. So the feeling of four is freedom or drama. There's still freedom in drama. It's a choice of victimizing the loneliness and the falling aspect. So that four is freedom. Hence the justice. The equal right of everything. Okay. So equity in dimension. Freedom in the passing. And equity in the principle of even in everyone. Everything even, equal, similar, congruent, analog, same, in the final four. It's abstract and obvious when you get experience. With just the mind, it's kind of get lost. Don't get lost. Just fais le. Is it good with four? The dark four is not necessarily loneliness, but the drama that we compose of being out of. So where the four is the result of two as giving birth. Two is giving birth to other. Okay, two is giving birth. Then that four is I'm out of the heavens, I'm out of the mother, I'm out of, I was produced. Therefore in a shape, a dimension, a world of manifestation, that I can feel lost, like not a slave. It's not like a slave that some higher power is imposing a prison. More like a choice that I refuse to accept as a choice. I'm alone. I don't want to be responsible to be the one that went away. I just feel alone. This feeling of going into shock. Ride the lightning, man. Rock and roll. Okay? Shock. MahaVajra is that choice, that freedom. Handling to lagima. Four as a result of 1 and 3. 1 and 3 is that original power of consciousness doing nothing, and it just expands, and you feel. 1, 3 is love. 13 is love. When 4 is the result of 1, 3, supreme consciousness just overwhelmingly expanding, interacting. In this case, 3 is in its secondary position, so it's a 3 of interaction. The meaning of love. 1, 3 is that power expanding, but that 3 is that interacting principle of expansion, maybe, yes. So that sublime consciousness that you're in relationship with, love, to be interacting with the supreme, with the most high, with the beautiful. Then form is that resulting freedom, this choice of equity, of interacting with everything. So in 4, there's the original choice of coming into incarnation for the sake of love. If you're reading in numerology or tarot is like 22794, your final 4 is your drama. If it's something like 31674, then your 4 is this freedom, this access to the world to experiment. It's a question of what is all these powers interacting. Take some time eventually to ponder the possibilities. So you can predict or do a card reading with a simple deck of cards. I'll tell you what the valet, the queen, and the king, and the ace means. Well, the ace is 1, it's also 11 sometimes. I'll tell you what it means later. But just the numbers will start to give you stuff. And if the card is upside or downside, upside down, then it gives you if it's the good or dark one, but not necessarily in a judgment way. numbers, just numbers, there's no clue if it's an upside or downside number. Just watch the clock. You just have numbers come in your life. The mileage on your car when it happens, that event, the things that happen, the registration on your car, the number of your residence, your phone number. There's no meaning if it's an up or down number. So you have to forget about this. Just look at the interacting potentials. Okay? For fun. When you're agile, date and time of birth. Okay, it's cool. In a numeric reading, always consider the total. Read, be conscious. I know it's a lot of intellectual experience and wisdom, and the mind is not comfortable mixing numbers and experimental feelings. We transcend. Combining two aspects of our brain and nervous system so that the intellectual understanding must consider the feeling of the experience, how it feels like. Then the ego saying, no, I'm losing my control with all these numbers and charts. I have to experience again. Ah! Why can I not take a break? You can take a break. They'll just prolong the suffering. Take a break, it's okay. Think in terms of happiness, of fun, of discovering this wisdom. Because 5. Five in its first position is a potential. The force is not applied. It could. It is strong, but it's not the principles of applying force. It's just that form could do something. Ooh, the confusion now. As a siddhi, prapti, and you contemplate that you can achieve and do anything you want. Well, that's the result of the power of prapti. What's the contemplation of prapti? I'm born from spirit. What's the link with 5? Whatever I am that original potential. And 5 is that ability to apply force. Therefore, prapti, I could do everything. Even if the contemplation of the siddhi 5, prapti, is I'm born from spirit, I'm wonderful. Because it's all a question of perception, the building up of that potential. My translator is transcending. Fuck it. Relax and let yourself pass out. Okay. So, the Hebrew in the 5th archetype use a window as an image for the median 5. The perception. What you think about it, what you perceive of it. Okay. So the applied force is a result, the actual applied force is the final 5. The first 5 is the potential. And then it is directed in the median 5. The elements of it, the 5 elements, the combination, these potentials are actually substance. And what you perceive is not looking with the eyes. It's what idea do you make of it? What archetype, what do you make of that potential in your mind, in your higher consciousness? It's not about the senses, perception in the level of soul. When there's still no physical body and nervous system to perceive. It's a feeling. Ah, what is that potential? It's spirit. So 5 is that 5-pointed star of ability, of potential, Om MahaVajra. Its first position, 5 is potential. In median, it's about the interaction with other, when it's 3 plus 2, for example. It's in its median position, it's that, you know, a window suggests something. What is in and what is out. Because it's not just looking, it's looking outside. Okay? So the window indicates that in your perception, something in the form of 4 will be interacting with 1 outside. 4 plus 1 gives you your 5. So that median 5 window, 4 is that door, 5 is the window. You're still in your form now, but there's something else. Because there's no applied force if you don't apply it on something. That median 5 explains how the potential first 5 becomes an applied force in the final 5. Natural applied force that brings a change. So the 5 is that combination of 4 and 1. Okay? From inside there's other or something. It's also the 1 and 4. So I am going to the shape or interacting or the conscious of the form, 1, 4. But it's also 2 and 3 or 3 and 2. You have 5 there. These interacting in duality, applying force. If it's expanding with someone or into something else, in a container in the house, expanding in your house, it applies force. It's a potential growing. 5 can be any combination of 2 and 3, of 1 and 4, in both directions, from their first, median, and final positions. Okay, it's numerically, it makes sense. Okay, breathe. You don't have to find it out right now. Just to inspire you the possibilities. When you practice doing some reading or understanding of the archetypes of the universe. Yes, Shamantrana, yes. I'm trying hard. Numbers are a dance of beauty and mystery. And if they were color, you would know the universe was painted. It's to give you the feeling of the artistic phenomena of creation. The dark 5 is violence, aggressivity. There's no conflict yet. Conflict is in 6. In 2 there's duality. In 6 there's the actual conflict. In the duality of 2, we're not talking of any combat between the two dual things that would not agree, for example. Because there's nothing to apply force yet. But now that we have a 5 that can apply force, the duality of 6 can be a conflict. Not in the duality of 2. There's just separation, maybe rejection, feelings, but the actual manifesting conflicts are in 6. Indecision also. So the applied forces in 5. Potential, process of preparing, perception, the combining of forces 2, and then the final applied force. Six. The first 6 is best explained by the 3 plus 3. As a triangle moving up, another moving down, they both join to make a 6-pointed star. You have combination. In 5, you in your house, looking at someone else through the window outside, it's still a 3 and 2. It's still the you here and the other there, and the application of the force through the perception you have of it. These two opposite things are not joined. One pushes the other. In 6, this force will merge in and become one. Okay. Oh yeah, for the 5, Kai. In this potential of expanding in everything, the heart and Kai, for those who study Kujian. Okay. Of this potential force, this inside looking at everything as one, it's there. Okay. Compassion is applied force. There's no understanding of oneness. There's just, from here, I salute the everything. And then they're combined in Jin, the 6. Now they're combined inside. And you have a 6 of communion. 6 in its first position is unity, not oneness. Oneness is a principle of one. There's only one. Unity is the idea of separated things becoming together again, unifying. There's an action in unifying. There's an action in unification. Things separate, combine, or become one again, from a point of view that they were separated. 6 is 2, 2, 2. It's also 1, 5, conscious of a force applied. It's also 5, 1, applying the potential of consciousness. 5, 1 is the potential of that powerful consciousness. It's the 3, 3, the expanding transformation. It's just, okay, 3, 3 is renewal. So that two separate things in 6 become one. They are not two separate things together. It becomes just one thing through the transformation of 3, 3. It goes boom. Two things now are one again. But it's not oneness that remembers. It is separation dissolved through transformation. In an opposite yet communing two forces. It's prayer, for example. You praying to God, even while you're one with it, conceiving it to be another. Communion. So the first 6 is unity retaining individuality. Individuality came with 4. Your shape, the passing into, having dimension, going away. Now 6 is that communion. And it is at the experience of 6 that you have oneness. There's no oneness in 1. The highest level experience of oneness starts at 3, when you can actually be conscious of that duality as one. But when you have as a soul the experience of oneness, it is in the 6th plane of wisdom. It is in Tiferet. You just got it. We're one. But you say it from a completely local and separated point of view. It's not the 3rd plane experience of oneness. It's 6. Okay? Your mind just can't finally get it. It's just above the intellect and the creative aspect. The intellect is the bridge before the 8 and 7 plane. Huh? It's not just the 7, not just the 8. It's the bridge between both. So 6 in its primary position. It's all this conceived unity. In its secondary position, or median position, 6 is not unity. Because it is in a secondary or median, after 1 position, then it's not about the oneness. It retains what it got from the 2 plus 2 plus 2 or 2 plus 4. It retains the duality in form. So 6 in a median position is the joining of 2 components that will not become one. So it's a link of a chain. It's an attachment. It's a contract. It's something that binds you. It's a beautiful collaboration. It is a dependency. Okay? In the final 6, we don't know if it's a 2nd position or more. Let's say 16, 1, 6. It's to be conscious of the chains, of what binds you. 16 also becomes observe your ego, your mask, your integration. 16 is integration. But the 6, when it's final, and it's at the end of a long series of number, could be unification as one again. And finally you'll unite. Finally you'll be together. Or finally you'll be opposed. The more we go, the more a final number is subject to the previous numbers. It's all a question of interpretation. But a final 6 is a combination, whether you like it or not. It is a duality. Maybe you like the duality because it means collaboration. 6 is really 2 experience in nature or in the universe. It's 2 in a tangible, observing, opposite form dimension. It's the 2 that gain the experience of the 3, 4, and 5. So that duality, but collaboration. The dark 6 is indecision. It's not separation. Separation is 2. The dark 6 is indecision. It is disagreement when it's in first position. It is the addictions and dependencies when it's median. It's not a beautiful marriage. This is the enslavement to systems. In final position, it is pride. The dark 6 is pride. So let's interpret 666. Why not? 666, when it's in the soul, is the number of Michael radiating on earth from the sun. It is the unifying through communion, you know, the beautiful 6, the beautiful 6, the beautiful 6, unifying through communion with all potentials conscious, with all binded forces, is to keep your mind in everyone together. It's to be part of a group. But put it in the hands of your animal ego, then 666 is on the forehead of the beast. Huh? So that 666 becomes the conflict of your addictions to structures and orders because of your pride. Okay? So that original 6, which will be that indecision that you feel in first position, the addiction of the median 6, and the pride of the final 6, the no, I don't want to be equal. This idea I have to be equal, but it is displeasing, and I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm unsatisfied. All this comes from the number of the beast. When the principles of 6, the 3 principles of 6 are on the dark side of its interpretation. When it's just about these forces going out into the bounded addictions of wanting. So it does incarnate 2 again, through greed. Six, 666 is 18. The number of affecting or affliction. So if you have a conflict and you're uncertain and you ask God for help, and 6 is your symbol, even more precise 66 or 666, you can understand the enslavement to the natural forces. Those conscious 5s, the 1-5, which is the devil card, to which you're addicted. And if you're in grace and you see a 666 and you had no question, it's just 666. When are you ever going to see 666 on a clock? Depending on your clock. Usually it's 606. And that gives you an experience of that. That original and final 6. Everything is okay. 616 is beautiful. It means you're in a state of integrity. Because you're observing yourself. It's beautiful. Numbers. So 1 plus 5 is a conscious combination of potential forces that could apply force. So it's the devil. It's that powerful could do something, depending on how you feel about it. 15 becomes your support, your pillar. If it's 5-1, it's the potential of that awareness, of that presence. It's still very powerful. It could enslave you or bind you or support you or unite you, but it's not there yet until it falls into a 6. Opposite forms, 2 plus 4. Duality dimension. Then you have a conflict. Usually a 2-4 or a 24, in its upside, it's Ida and Pingala. It's the two lameds combined. It's the wanting of Kundalini. It's collaboration in the realization of something without the realization done yet. Realization is 8.